Hopefully, I'm not too late making this video. About a month ago, I got a comment from Cavs Trade 45 on the video I did on the Electric Atmos coffee vacuum canister lid. And he had mentioned, or she had mentioned, that they have only had one arm since 2019 and have been a roaster since 2021. And the question was what I think of the Atmos in comparison to two other options, one being the Outpeak and one being the Soulhand. So I decided to compare them. Now I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this isn't going to be some in-depth statistical analysis with Excel spreadsheets and graphs and benchmarking. This is just going to be me talking about my experience with them so far. Of course, I am biased, just because I bought the Fellow and I love it, but I am going to give you the pros and the cons of even the Atmos and the Soulhand and the Outpeak. And what I'm going to try to do is do as much of this as I can with one hand. So let's get started because I don't have much sun left. We're going to start with the control, which is the Fellow Atmos. Now, as I mentioned in the video, brief overview, the lid fits on the manual Atmos canisters as well. For example, on this one, this was a manual Atmos that I had, and I just bought a lid and put it on there. I also have another one that I bought as a complete set. I bought this glass canister with the electric lid for my tea leaves, and I use both of them. It's been serving me very well. It's easy to pick up with one hand. What I did notice in doing this video, which will apply to all three, using one hand for any of these canisters on a hard, slippery surface is not very easy. So I'm going to use a coaster to demonstrate the ease of use with one hand. So press once and you unseal. You wait for the light to go away and you know it's done. And then, can I do this? Open it with one hand. Now, in order to reseal, if I'm done using it, whatever, blah, 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 I put the lid on, just placing it on, and it will seal. And I think it looks nice. It's very simple. As you saw, it fits in the palm of my hand. I don't exactly have big hands. I can't palm a basketball, for example. It's not very loud. And one of the other features it has is, well, two features it has that I'm going to point out because the things I'm pointing out are going to be relevant to compare and contrast to the Soulhand and the Outpeak. Just sitting there on the counter and the light is off. If I move it, even slightly, gently, slowly, the light will turn on in whatever color is relevant to let me know that A, it's powered, B, it's either sealed or not sealed. If it's a green light, it's sealed. If it's a white light, it's unsealed. And if it's a red flashing light, the battery is dead or near dead. And if it's an amber light, the battery is running low. Periodically, it will automatically reseal itself. And I would imagine it's depending on what you have in the canisters. If you have something that produces a lot of gas, then obviously it's going to need to reseal more frequently. But regardless, it will sense when it needs to and it will reseal. It has never, now I have coffee in one and tea in the other, right? So I think coffee is probably going to produce more gas. Maybe tea does, I don't know. But the point that I want to make is neither of them have ever had to reseal on their own any sooner than 48, 72 hours. And it's very quiet, so it doesn't really disturb you. And the other thing is, despite it doing it on its own, since I made that video until now, I've only had to charge each of these lids one time. The coffee one I had to charge a couple of months back, so I assume I'm gonna have to recharge it again soon. But that's because I use it every day, almost every day. The tea one I don't use very frequently, so that one I only had to recharge, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, because it's really only being used when it has to reseal. All right, the next one I'm gonna compare with, move this out of the way, the Soulhand. Now, this is how big it is, right? As you can see, it's larger. It's glass, they have a non-glass version, and this is the lid. It has a little slot here for a measuring cup that it comes with. That's a nice touch. The glass feels pretty much like the glass of the Atmos. Obviously, it's larger. That's not a comparison point I'm gonna be making because if you know you need a certain volume, then you get that volume. Now, here's the thing with the Soulhand. Now, as you can see, there's lights on top. The lights are telling you that it is powered on. There is a power light. There's a battery light that's always green. I'm assuming that, that hasn't discharged much yet, so I'm assuming it changes color probably to red when the battery is low. It has a vacuum light and a release light. Now, the two things about this lid that are a bit notable, I guess, is one, it is touch and it's not a button, and two, it's glossy. So you're gonna get your fingerprints all up on this if that's an issue for you, but this will attract fingerprints. Now, how do we release the seal? So it's not by just touching the power button. I have to double tap the power button and it releases. It's still releasing. It's still releasing. It's still releasing. And now it is done. Okay, so it's a slow flash now. It flashes rapidly on the release light to let you know that it's in the process of releasing, and now it has finished. That's how long it took to finish releasing the vacuum. Now we're moving with one hand. It can be done. As you can see, the lid is larger than the Atmos, so, right? Definitely a difference. Ease of use, it's up to you. It depends on the size of your hands. There is a battery that goes in here, so the battery is replaceable. And otherwise, it seems like a pretty good quality. Now let's replace it. I'm just gonna place the lid on, and I have to double tap the touch power button. Don't know if you can hear that. It is a little bit louder than the Atmos. Actually, the Atmos is going right now, resealing, because I took the lid off while this is going. Letting you know it's vacuuming. Looks like it's almost, there you go, it's finished. The speed doesn't really matter to me. That doesn't turn me off about this. Nor does the sound, because it is a little bit louder than the Atmos, but it's not that much louder. It's not that big of a deal. Does it have a motion sensor, right? If I move it, does it let me know that there's power and that it's sealed or unsealed? It doesn't. However, if I tap the power button just one time and it senses that I tapped, then it will light up and let me know. Little bit less convenient than just moving it, especially because you have to think about it. At the time of filming this video, the prices of the three were within $20 of each other, $20 or $30 of each other. There's certainly not a huge disparity. I would say there is a disparity enough for you to be getting what you're paying for with the Atmos over the Soulhand and the Outpeak, and the Soulhand over the Outpeak. I believe the Outpeak was the least expensive, which you're gonna see why in a second. Now for the Outpeak. It's the least pretty. It's the cheapest looking. It's the cheapest feeling, to be honest with you. How does it work? Well, you've got your pressure release button. You've got your sealing button. They're two separate buttons. The sealing button is an on-off switch. It's a power icon. The Outpeak logo is on this release button here, which is, you know, and then it's got the mesh that's similar to the Atmos. It's removable, it's cleanable, all that stuff. And then there is a little red plastic thing here that just sucks in when there's full vacuum, like the manual Atmos, and a little light here that lets you know that it's sealed or when the battery is discharged and whatnot. As you can see, it's much larger. It's way more difficult to hold with one hand. And of the three, I have not once heard this reseal. That being said, I also haven't noticed it depressurize. And here is another thing that I didn't notice until I realized I was taking it for granted, particularly with the Atmos and also with the Soulhand. That's this. If I place it here, right? First of all, it's got this ridge here, right? So when I place it on top, it doesn't actually close. I have to put it down, and then I'm gonna push the vacuum button. And what you're gonna notice is it's running and it's not sealing. Now, because all of them take about 45 to 60 seconds to actually seal, you're not gonna realize until 2 minutes later that, hey, wait a minute, it's not sealing. And that's because you have to push it down for it to create the seal. The other thing is, in order to release this, I have to hold it fully down before it fully releases, and then you can get it off with one hand. Oh, there you go, the seal just went. So these are the things with the Outpeak that, I mean, I don't really like that much. I was just gonna mention how I have never noticed it seal on its own when it detects that there's no pressure. But I'm gonna bring you around here. If you take a look here, while I was saying that, it sealed itself to the table. And it's doing it again now. Stop. Stop. Well, that was weird. So, now one other thing I will mention about the Soulhand is, like the Atmos, it does periodically reseal itself. The strange thing is, this does it several times a day, but for very brief periods of time. It'll maybe run for like 5 seconds and reseal, but it does it like 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. It either loses pressure enough for it to need to do that again, and mind you, I've been testing these with nothing in there, which means there's nothing producing any gas. Or, given the fact that it's only running for about 4 or 5 seconds, it is more sensitive to loss of pressure. So even if there's a little bit of a loss of pressure, it's gonna run to keep the pressure as tight as it possibly can. But it's still running multiple times a day, which means it's using battery life, and it's also making a little bit of noise. That being said, let's see how loud each of them is. This is still releasing. Is it done? Yes, okay. I don't know why it flashes for that long. That's weird. All right, here we go. The Atmos, the Soulhand, and the Outpeak. Soulhand finished. Atmos finished. This is still going. Probably because I didn't press down on it. So you see, it even reared its head there, and I thought I had actually put the lid on. To summarize, the Soulhand is the largest of the 3. Doesn't make a difference because you can pick which size you want. It is touch enabled on top. It's got your lights. It has the ability to reseal on its own, and it can be used with one hand, and it's fairly easy to place the lid on and to seal it. What makes it not so great is it is a larger diameter, so you need a better grip on it. The touch controls I could do without. It is oddly sensitive to losing pressure, so it reseals very, very often. And it doesn't really notify you as easily whether there's a loss of the seal or whether it is sealed or not. You can tap on it to see whether the lights are working or not, but you have to activate it for it to do that. The Outpeak is the largest diameter of the 3, not as easy to hold, doesn't feel as good to use. It has 2 separate buttons that are not obvious of what they do. That doesn't really make much of a difference because you'll know what they do once you know. A little less intelligent when it comes to unsealing and less intelligent when it comes to actually sealing. Then there's the Atmos. It is technically the most expensive of the 3, maybe by about $10 or $20 at the time I'm making this video. It is the easiest to hold. It is smaller than the other 2 in terms of capacity, but again, if you need a certain capacity, you will know which one you want. Easy to seal, easy to unseal, beautiful lighting, beautiful design, has the ability to reseal itself, easy to take off, easy to put back on, and yeah, like I said before, the presentation, right? So like, definitely of the 3, the Atmos is the best looking one. It's also, I think, the easiest one because it's the easiest to hold. There's one simple button. I mean, me just touching it like that right now activated the light letting me know it's not sealed. I think it's designed with the user very much in mind, and the other 2 maybe have had some oversights. Now, are there oversights about the Atmos? Certainly not over the other 2. These other 2 feel like they're trying to be like the Fellow. Sorry, my dishwasher. I think I'm always running the dishwasher anytime I'm making a video. Now, to be honest, do I care how loud any of them are? Not really. It's nice that the Fellow is the quietest, but the volume of the Outpeak doesn't bother me as much. Funny enough, the volume needs to be high on the Outpeak because you don't actually know if you've sealed it or not. The volume of all 3 of them is not that bad, and the time it takes for them to seal also is not that much of a factor. It's not really relevant to me because so long as I know it's sealing on its own, I can walk away and do something else. Right? That's the point of all of these. I don't have to sit there and manually seal everything. I think really what it comes down to is ergonomics, the presentation, and the ease of understanding it, I guess. The user friendliness, I guess that would be, right? In terms of making it function and also it giving you information as to whether it's sealed or not. I am judging these having experienced the Atmos for however long it's been now. But that's really, I mean, that's not necessarily a negative. If either of these were better than that, then they would be better. But I don't think they are. But yeah, I'm glad I got the Atmos.